off a daily fantasy. His number too high, then I'm probably fading him. He been on the road, he gon' eat up my salary. I hit up, he gon' lie before lock. Play back to back, then I probably won't pick on the Dfs Bachelor, good as it gets. Build a few liners and hit me a leg. He had a good game, but it might be a trick. Log in the Slack so I know who to pick. Sharing our liners, we all gon' get rich. New to this game, you should come to the pad. You might want some cash and get a good laugh. Dfs Sports, we gon' run up a bag. He heard every game and it's making me mad. You buying your lineups, I think you a cheater. Dfs Bachelor, he the new leader, yeah.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to The Bachelor Pat. I, of course, am your host, the Dfs Bachelor, and we're going to go over our Thursday night football showdown slate on both Fanduel and Draftkings. We have the Dolphins at the Jaguars. First things first, before we get to anything, a big thank you, a big cheers to you all. Seriously, I appreciate all of your support so much. It's truly humbling every day, and all the support you're showing in my other ventures over at Sportsbook Review. It means a lot. Thank you all so much. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the team. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Get access to all of our content. If you check out that video description, there's links to other content at Sportsbook Review. We have our first look video for week 3 already out. I was joined by Jackpot DFS for that show. Final looks, Thursday night football, Monday night football, value plays, all that stuff. I'm going to try to sprinkle in some showdown stuff for the NBA when I get some slivers of time. Right now, my schedule is so crazy. Trying to do all this and be a teacher at home with my son at home at school in his sophomore year. So there's just a lot going on. So I apologize I haven't gotten much NBA out, but I'm working on it. I'm going to find the time and we're going to get it done. But hit that subscribe button if you're so inclined to do so. Also, don't forget to like the video. That helps the channel more than you know, so I really appreciate that. And of course, if you wish to qualify for our $50 weekly PayPal giveaway sponsored by our friends at Tax Relief Advocates, all you have to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment in the comment section. You'll see that on the scroll down below. My wonderful son did a beautiful job setting that up on all formats for the show, so you can read it there and check that out. My guys at Tax Relief Advocates, man, they will make your tax debt disappear. $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, $100,000. If you're having any problems with the IRS, student loans, anything, give them a call at 1-800-411-9633 and be sure to tell them the Bachelor sent you, and a big thank you to them. $50 PayPal giveaway every week sponsored by them. Also, don't forget my friends over at Overlay DFS. You can go to overlaydfs.com. That's down there in the scroll below as well. It's a lot of fun. The matchup shop, you can now parlay plays, plus minuses with players' fantasy scores, the head-to-heads, just a lot of fun at Overlay. We've had a lot of success over there, a lot of people winning. It's a different way to play. So check them out at overlaydfs.com. And as usual, if you want my player pool, cheat sheet, projections for not just the NFL, but NBA and Major League Baseball every single day, you can click that link in the video description below and try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1. When you do that, with that link, you get my player pool that I am using. You can use the mass lineup generator, generate 150 lineups, the cash game optimizer, the late swap optimizer. You can bring your lineups to and from Fanduel and Draftkings, re-optimize if you have a late scratch, and put them right back in on both sites. So a lot of good stuff there. Be sure to check all that out. And of course, I'm live 4 times a week at Sportsbook Review. So I have a link to that channel as well. I'll be live tomorrow on Thursday, as a matter of fact, at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 Pacific, and live again Sunday morning, 1 hour before lock. Our opening line show is already out on Tuesdays. And Monday Night Football, we're live for 3.5 hours. Watch party in it. I take some shots. We have a good time. So be sure to check that out as well. I know that's a long intro, but hey, the show couldn't be what it is without all the wonderful sponsors and things going on. So got to pay the bills somehow, right? So let's get into it. So it's a single game slate. So we always know, listen, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're playing a cash game 50-50, which I think is strange for single games, then yeah, use up all your salary and try to be optimal. But if you're playing one of those tournaments and you're trying to differentiate yourself at the top and not trying to tie with, 8,000 people, then you're going to want to leave some salary on the table, do some things differently. On the DraftKings side, it's about 72% of the time a wide receiver or a running back is in that captain spot. The two sites are vastly different when it comes to showdowns. On FanDuel, you get 1.5 times the salary in the captain spot, but you still pay, or 1.5 times the points rather, but you still pay the same salary. On DraftKings, you get 1.5 times the points, but you also pay 1.5 times the salary. So it's just two different strategies. A quarterback in the captain spot on Fanduel, where it's only half point per reception, is fine. It's generally not the optimal way to go on DraftKings. There are exceptions, running quarterbacks, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, etc. So those are some things to consider as we go through this. So let's start at quarterback, right? Let's just get to the quarterback spot. Both quarterbacks are absolutely in play. In fact, I have no issue with putting both quarterbacks in your lineup. Both teams are going to struggle against the pass. Now, Miami's star corner, Byron Jones, is doubtful for this week. So they're going to have a rookie corner over there, Noah Igbenegany. So that even increases their output even more. Minshew's $11K on DraftKings. He's $16K on FanDuel, the most expensive player on the slate. But of course he's in play. Minshew Mania. I love Gardner Minshew. They're going to throw the ball a ton. Big upside at home against an injured. Even Xavier Howard was limited in practice today for Miami. So an injured secondary. They're not a high output running team. So I like Gardner Minshew a lot. So far, Miami has allowed the second most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. And you got Ryan Fitzpatrick. And the Dolphins don't run the ball much either. Myles Gaskin, Breida, they get about 7 carries each. Jordan Howard will come in on short yardage, 5 to 6 carries. But they're going to throw the ball a ton. You just put up a 27 against a very good Buffalo team. So far this year, Jacksonville, through the first 2 weeks, has been 22nd against opposing quarterbacks. So I like both quarterbacks, and I'll certainly have exposure to both. Like I said, on FanDuel, I don't mind them in the captain spot. On DraftKings, I'm looking at the running backs and the wide receivers, maybe even a tight end and Mike Gesicki. We'll get to that in a few moments. Let's have a drink, shall we? I'm so happy to be here with you guys, man. It's so humbling that you guys make me a part of your day. I really, really do appreciate it. So at running back, out of the depths, after they traded Leonard Fournette away and Raquel Armstead went on IR, it's been James Robinson. That's right, James Robinson. Some of you may have not even heard of him. He's playing 58% of the offensive snaps. He's being targeted in the passing game. He's been effective in the running game. Now, Miami's been pretty good so far against opposing running backs, but he's 7-8 on DraftKings, 14K on FanDuel. Certainly some captain spot consideration. He's the only running back on the slate who I would consider in the captain spot. He's not my favorite captain choice, but he's the one I would consider. Then you get to the Dolphins running backs. Myles Gaskin has emerged as the man in Miami. He's been very effective in the passing game, 11 targets over the first 2 weeks, 16 carries. He's playing 64% of the offensive snaps. Jacksonville 18th against opposing running backs. He's 7-2 on DraftKings and 10K on FanDuel. I like Myles Gaskin's price over there on FanDuel. Jordan Howard, I mean, look, it's not like he's playing a great defense, so he could certainly poach some touchdowns. But again, that's all you're going to get. He's only playing about 12% of the offensive snaps. Matt Breida and Gaskin are really the two running backs playing more, and Breida's only playing 22%. So it's a boomer, but I don't have much interest in Jordan Howard. Again, you're hoping they get to the 1 yard line a couple times and that he punches it in from there. I'm trying to find his price on FanDuel, $8,500 on FanDuel. I'm kind of staying away from that. So if we're looking at some value, guys, what about a guy like Chris Thompson? He's playing about 35% of the offensive snaps, 34%. He's going to be targeted, 3, 4, 5 times a game. He's got in the end zone last week. He's 2,600 on DraftKings. So if you're looking for a guy who's going to be in the game, can get involved in the passing game, it's a short week, so maybe they give some of these backup running backs a little more work. I'm trying to find his price on FanDuel. He's 9,500, so it gets a little dicey there. I'm not sure I'm that interested on FanDuel, but DraftKings, 2,600. I think you could do a whole lot worse. And if you're looking for one of these under 2K guys, Matt Breida, we just talked about it, 7 carries. He's had 12 rushes over the first 2 weeks, a couple of targets. He does have that big play, boom, upside. He can go yard anytime he's on the field. So at 1,800, if you want to sprinkle him in as a tournament dart throw, I don't mind that either. Let's get to the wide receiver position. A couple injuries to talk about. It's the two main receivers for each team. DJ Chark was a limited practice today. It's a chest issue. No real concerns there. He did practice in a limited fashion here on Wednesday. I expect him to be fully healthy. And now with Byron Jones being out, he's going to see a whole bunch of Noah Igbenegany. Both of these secondaries, look, the Dolphins have allowed the third most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. When you look at the other matchups, Keelan Cole in the slot has just been a touchdown machine, and he's going to see Nick Needham, who gives up 0.51 fantasy points per route ran against. And on the other side, it's basically a timeshare. It looks like Laviska Shenault, the rookie, has really taken over that role from Chris Conley. He's playing 59% of the snaps. He's going to see Xavier Howard, who was also limited with a knee issue today. He's actually been pretty vulnerable the first couple of weeks, giving up 0.51 fantasy points per route ran against, and they've played the Dolphins and they played the Bills and the Patriots. So a guy like DJ Chark, Keelan Cole, Laviska Shenault, who's even involved in the running game, are both effective plays. Devontae Parker, he's been limited in practice all year long. Of course, we knew he had the week 1 injury. He played a full complement of snaps on Tuesday. There's been no notification that he hampered that injury or re-aggravated it. So both Chark and Devontae Parker are absolutely in play when you look at the Miami versus Jacksonville wide receiver cornerback matchup. Preston Williams against Trey Herndon, who's been pretty good. He just hasn't been targeted a lot, giving up 0.12. CJ Henderson on the other side. It should be a nice matchup for Devontae Parker. And Isaiah Ford in the slot. That's probably their best corner, DJ Hayden. But so far, he's giving up almost a half a point per route ran against. So I do think there's some value there. So Chark, Parker, Preston Williams, Laviska Shenault. I think it'd be an interesting, contrarian captain spot guy. But Keelan Cole, look, he's been targeted 12 times through the first 2 weeks of the season. He's put up a 16 and an 18. He just finds himself in the end zone. He's 5,400 on DraftKings. When you look at Fanduel, he's 11K. We got Parker at 12K, Chark at 13K. But I like all three of those plays. And then we get down, I think the real value here is Isaiah Ford. Now, we talked about it. It's a tough matchup against DJ Hayden. No doubt about it. But he's playing 69% of the snaps. He was targeted 9 times in week 2 against Buffalo and Teron Johnson, who's a terrific slot corner. 13 targets over the first 2 weeks of the season at 3K. On DraftKings, I think there's some real value there with Isaiah Ford. He's at 7,000 on FanDuel. Look, on FanDuel, would you rather pay $8,500 for Jordan Howard or $7K for a guy playing 7 times the amount of snaps? Give me Isaiah Ford on FanDuel, well over Jordan Howard. Chris Conley is going to be the other perimeter receiver. He's playing about 40% of the snaps. He's 2,200 on DraftKings. Over here on FanDuel, he's 6,500 now. He was targeted 7 times in week 2, only converted that into 9 fantasy points, but nonetheless, opportunity equals fantasy points. He's super cheap at 2,200 on DraftKings. And if you're looking to get super contrarian, a guy like Jakeem Grant, very fast, explosive. It only takes one play for him to smash value. Now, he's only been targeted 5 times over the first 2 weeks of the season. He's only playing 31% of the snaps. But again, if you're looking for this boom or bust contrarian, you're playing 150 lineups, you may as well sprinkle him into a couple, because if he breaks one of these free for a 70-yard touchdown, he has just smashed value. Let's get to the tight end position, shall we? For me, it's a 2-man race up here. Mike Gesicki has been an absolute beast for Miami. 16 targets through the first 2 weeks of the season. Had a great game against Buffalo. So far this year, Jacksonville has been torched by the tight end position, allowing the 3rd most fantasy points in the league to opposing tight ends. So you're getting Gesicki at 7-4 on DraftKings, 10-5 on FanDuel. I like Mike Gesicki quite a bit, playing 63% of the offensive snaps at tight end. And then the red zone guy for Jacksonville. We talked about Keelan Cole getting the end zone. Well, another red zone guy is going to be Tyler Eifert, and you may as well play him while he's still healthy. He's 5,800 on DraftKings. He's playing 58% of the offensive snaps. Turned 6 targets into 13 DraftKings points in week 2. Had a bad week 1, only targeted 1 time. But you're going to see him in the red zone targeted more and more, and he's sitting there at 6,500 on FanDuel. And we always like to talk about some of these tight ends under 2,000 here. If you're looking for one guy, he's been targeted 5 times through the first 2 weeks, 4 targets in week 2. He's playing 44% of the offensive snaps. James O'Shaughnessy at 1,600 on DraftKings could be an interesting value guy. He's over here at 5,500 on FanDuel, same as Jakeem Grant. Again, boom or bust, tournament dart throws only. Again, you can find all these snap percentages, touch percentages, projections, my cheat sheet. I also just posted today, they'll be up any time now, my top 10 PPR rankings for you season-long players at each position. You'll find that in the home screen at Draft Dashboard. You'll also find my top 10 best and worst wide receiver cornerback matchups, the player, their opponent, and how many points per route each player who's guarding him gives up. So there's a lot of information there. Be sure to click that link in the video description. Try it for 30 days for $1. Let's get to the kickers. Now, the kickers are always in play, unfortunately. on these because, you kick 3 field goals, you've just outscored probably the number 2 wide receiver, right? You've got Jason Sanders at 4,200 on DraftKings. He had an 11 in week 2. Jacksonville teams have been moving the ball against Jacksonville and not getting into the end zone necessarily, allowing the 6th most fantasy points to opposing kickers. So he's 4,200 on DraftKings. He's 9K on Fanduel, the same as Josh Lambo. Now, Josh Lambo is someone we should talk about. He is battling a hip injury. Now, as of this moment, right now, recording this video, Jacksonville has not signed another kicker, which leads me to believe that Josh Lambo is going to be there, but certainly a little bit more risk. It's unfortunate that kickers are even a part of these slates, but they do offer salary savings, and they do offer that double-digit fantasy upside. We've got 18 total DraftKings points in the first 2 weeks for Lambo, 15 for Sanders. Both kickers are in play. I'm going to try to avoid it, but you're going to have some of the kickers, bottom line. And I might lean towards Sanders. You worry about if he, kicks off and hurts that hip again and Jacksonville is forced just to go for 2 and all that stuff, or throw their punter out there to kick. There's a little bit dicey stuff, but right now, as we sit, it looks like everything is good there. And then we go to the defenses. Remember, there is no defensive plays on FanDuel. They don't have the defenses, but they do on DraftKings. One thing I found very interesting, Jacksonville, 6,400? That doesn't make any damn sense. No thanks. I want no part of either defense. Now, I would normally on a Thursday night choose the home defense as my favorite, and I'm still leaning that way just because Fitzpatrick, we know, sometimes can melt and throw a bunch of interceptions. But I don't know if you could justify paying 6,400 for a defense on this slate. It's just, and you're going to see guys at the beginning. You're going to get discouraged when you start because there's going to be a ton of people. It's the douchiest move in all of Showdown DFS. They're going to put a defense in the captain spot, and they'll be sitting at first place for about, a quarter and a half until everything starts to work its way out. And then they'll drop. It's not going to happen. It's very rare that it happens. Then you got the Dolphins at a regular price at 4K. I just expect Jacksonville to be able to move the ball with all the injuries. So I'm staying away from the defenses as much as I can. So that's our look at Thursday Night Football. Again, for any injury news, updates throughout the day tomorrow and, today, you can follow me on Twitter at Dfs Bachelor. If you want my player pool for not just this NFL slate, but for every NFL slate, baseball, basketball, click that link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1. When you do, how you find my player pool? I get asked this question a lot. First things first, you need to use that link below. That's how you get access to it. Second of all, then you click the Watch Players tab over here on the left, or you'll see, if you don't have your screen zoomed out like I do right now, you can click these little 3 bars up here for the menu. Click the Watch Players menu. When you do that, you will see a blue box at the top that says Watch DFS Bachelor's Picks. You click that. It'll highlight my player pool, so you can use my player pool in the lineup optimizer, mass lineup generator, use your own. It'll also give you a timestamp in Eastern time when I have last updated it, so you know that if I'm up to date with all the injuries, etc., it is all there. Then you can use it in the lineup optimizer. We'll make a sample lineup for each site. I know some people like that. I haven't been doing that as much lately. So Fitzpatrick, again, on DraftKings, I don't like quarterbacks in the captain spot. A guy like DJ Chark seems pretty interesting to me. Let's try a guy like DJ Chark right now. Now we've paired him with Gardner Minshew. We've got Keelan Cole at 5,400. I don't mind that. Getting some value, Isaiah Ford. So we have some, we still have 1,900 on the table here, and I actually like this lineup. Now, if you want to go to James Robinson, which I would do, I think this is a really nice lineup here. Still have 1,300 extra on the table, so there's lots of ways you can upgrade. I think that's a nice tournament lineup as I sit right now. Let's go over to FanDuel. Now, it'll be a little different on FanDuel, right? Because it's not 1.5 times the salary. So make sure you click on the single game slot here. It'll pop up the slate, the Jacksonville. You pick the one that you want. We want the Jacksonville Miami game. So in the captain spot, if you want to go a quarterback here, it makes a ton of sense. If you want to go to a Gardner Minshew here, totally get it. And then we got Keelan Cole, Gaskin, Parker, Fitzpatrick. We need to save some money. So maybe we go down here from Gaskin and save on one of these value plays. We got Isaiah Ford, Tyler Eifert at 6,500. I don't mind that. We still need to save 500, so we come down from Keelan Cole to a Mike Gesicki. Minshew, Gesicki, Eifert, Parker, Fitzpatrick. I don't mind that either. Again, click the link, try it for 30 days for $1. Use the mass lineup generator, etc. Don't forget to check out my guys at Overlay DFS. I'll be live tomorrow, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific, going through all the best NFL bets for the week with my guy Donnie Seymour over at Sportsbook Review. The link to that show is down there. And again, a big thank you to my guys at Tax Relief Advocates, 1-800-411-9633. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, be part of the $50 PayPal giveaway. We'll announce that on my Saturday Final Look show, where my partner from SBR, Donnie Seymour, tons of football information, joins us for that as we get you ready for everything for the main slate. Again, thank you all so much for watching. Appreciate the support. Good luck this weekend. Good luck tomorrow. Goodbye, folks.